Well, hello. So the sun is shining, so let's close the curtains. We don't want any of that sun today. Let's get in, shall we? So we're looking at the Copper Monkey system. Let's get into some code. So the Copper Monkey system is going to be a platforming system for payments, as we know. Not going to go into it. Watch the other videos. And here what we've got is we have got a Cobra CLI with a command which is going to run just a basic hello world test. And within here, it's then going to link out into the packages folder and then get access to this command here through the green module. So to reference here, it's going to be, of course, this, which is then just going to print out the word adding client payment requests along with the amount. So we went through that, we played about with it. If we look at the, in fact, yeah, the to-do is what we were up to. Add commands to green using Cobra, add and validate arguments, and create a REST API, which is where we were up to with that. If I have a look at this, what we were doing was we were going to have like this kind of syntax. Yeah, I remember now. This, if you ever wonder why it's difficult for you to tell your development team to stop working on something and work on something else, or oh, this project's now more important, it's for this exact reason. It's only been a couple of days really, and I haven't got a clue where I'm up to. Not got a clue what any of this code does. It's as if I've never wrote it. And that's because it's very difficult to keep code in your head at the same time and work on other stuff. You know, I've been configuring a Kubernetes ingress control. I've not even been looking at GoLang. So come to look at this, I'm like, I have to recap. I have to get context as a go-to about where it is I'm up to, what I was doing, where I got to, and what was the next steps of development. And I have to somehow refresh my mind as quickly as possible. Now that's where things like Obsidian or writing docs or to-dos or even just making lots of commits and then reviewing them commits comes in handy. That's a really good trick for getting yourself back up to speed. But for management out there, every time you ask your developers to do something else, this is what you're doing. This is the problems that you're causing them. The fact that you are now wasting loads of time, because not only have they got to do that with the new thing you want them to do, they're going to have to do it again with the thing that you're taking them off working on. So just a trick out there. If you want developers to work quickly, make sure they work on one thing. If I can open it up, you might not be able to see my lovely face. I'm too bright. Whatever. Anywho, so right, so what have we got here apart from failure to communicate? We have a very basic opening where we wanted to start using things like the amount, the customer ID to be able to pass in a request to add a client payment request. And at some point, we're going to have to start putting unit tests in this, but also, of course, we want to be able to respond with data as well. So we need to be able to reply back. It would be nice if we would reply back, you know, with the, what would it be? Maybe the request ID. The request ID. So there's like a transaction that we can get back to the user to say, yeah, your request has been processed. Here's its request ID. So the person on the command line's getting that feedback that that's happening. That's typical. If we reply back with a request ID, it's now testable because we've got that input output. Can't go wrong with that. Which means things like this, flat method calls are really bad. You want to always be returning back an error at least, so you can check for status. And I know that gets irritating in Go, but there's a whole load of other videos that explains why it's a good thing. So with this, we really want to be able to change the structure of this to be errors. So what we want to be able to do is change above so that the errors need to change that or change that errors and a response with a request ID. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so I've got that. Let's look into that then. And of course, we also want to be able to put the meat into here. If I do that, jump to capital. We have a look at this. At the moment, there's nothing in here, but I do want to put the code in there to write to a database. And what was the name of the database that I was thinking about using? I want to like a AWS database because this is where I'm going to end up sticking this stuff. So I want it to be like the Elastic one. Is it Cosmos, I think? And we're going to insert into that database. I've done it hundreds of times, so I've got examples that I can go off to recap my memory. But at the same time, I also want this to be agnostic. I want to be able to swap this out so I can change the database layer, and I can change things because this is going to be a whole series of stuff where we build the very basics, but then go through it. Okay, so for me, let's start fleshing this out. Let's get a bit more detail and then let's add some unit tests. It might be good then to start putting a GitHub actions on to start building this and running the unit tests. If we start with test-driven development, what I can do is I can put the tests in for adding payments, cancelling payments, and editing payments. Of course, there's a small window of opportunity for editing payments because they'll be in flight, might have been processed at that point. You can't edit them. So see how things grow, arms and legs, as you start thinking about it and discussing it on your little post-it notes. Right, so if we go here, got to add payment request to references. So what do I want to do? I want to focus on adding arguments. So where we were up to, we were up to, get the mouse out of the way, I don't need that. We were adding arguments. Oh, I remember now. I really didn't like the way we were using like args zeros to grab arguments. So I was wondering if there was a better way. I tried to find the package that cleaned it all up and provided better argument parameters. I can't find it, which is strange. So that's the thing that I want to look at. So we've got a mount, but I was just getting it as the args, but I actually want to get it as a flag. There we go. I remember now. Get values as flags. So what we're wanting, if we remember the syntax of the payment request, did we ever create a model for that? Is that something that we actually did? We got data, and data was a add client payment request data. Yeah, we did. So add client payments, action ID, event ID, which will be auto populated, action, date requested, and amount. So that's going to need more, isn't it? Because it's going to need things like the client ID. One of the things I generally like to do up front is to try and get an idea of what your types are going to look like. What's the data that's going to be in them? I talked about it in the previous videos. So because I've not done that in this scenario, trying to speed up time and make the videos a bit more interesting, I've ended up making it worse by not spending the time in investing in these types. So we've got an event. This is going to be probably a GUID. Got an action, which is the thing that we want to do. The date requested, the amount, and then how are we going to do it? What we're going to call it? Let's call it customer ID as a string. Yeah. Buffer. Okay. So this looks clean enough. Let's anchor that. So if we go here, so these are the kind of data points that we're going to need to get in. So what I need to do now is just have a quick look at flags within Cobra. Examples. So what we can do is we can set up inputs so that we can get in parameters via the command line like this. And this is going to be the command itself, and this is going to be amount. So if I remember correctly, I think we were also talking about subcommands as well. So we need to review subcommands. And I know that everyone's thinking, well, Gary, this is a system for reading and writing to a database. What are you doing? Well, this is the interface. This is the bit that we're going to chat with. I can then put unit tests on that, and I can test it and I can work with it. In fact, I could even probably start writing some test-driven development now to get to grips with this, which is probably what I'm going to do. I'm going to get the syntax of flags working, and then I'm going to start creating TDD. So it's just for me, it allows my mind to think more about the problem that I'm trying to solve. So we have got flags, and the way that this works is that we can take the input type, a keyword shortcut, and a default value. That's the way I believe it works. So what's this showing me? So command line flags, is this even, no, this isn't even using Cobra. Looked like it was. Because I've not even said Cobra. Flags. 22. The way it should work, like I say, is you have the value, the the name, the shortcut name, and a default value normally. So system flags. What have we got? Come on, come on. How to add flags to CLI build within Cobra. Prerequisites: adding a flag. Cobra has two types of flags: persistent flags and local flags. So persistent flags are available in the command line, available to the command it is assigned to, as well as all subcommands, right? Then local flags only assignable to a specific command. So we'll have local commands, but we'll have the ability to add these local commands to other commands just by a function call. So it's fine. So what we're doing, the init function of the rand file, we can add a persistent flag. We have its name called term, give it a description. So yeah, we've got a persisted flag. So we don't really want that at the moment, but that's persistent flag as a string with the name term. So that allows you to provide that value then. Then get random, blah, 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 blah. So here we have the command flags get string term, which then goes in here or provides an error if there was a problem, like validation. Not even got there yet. Then if the joke's not set, we just get a normal joke, or we can get a joke with that term. So basically we're able to get the value from the parameters and pass it through. This is probably where I was getting confused actually with the ergs thing, is that it's not ergs at all, it's flags. Right, where's the local? So understanding the response, great. So get joke with term, blah, 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 blah. What am I seeing? This is a lot of words. Yeah, I've got to jump all the way to the end and miss it. Let's do a search here. Because I know he's talked about persisted flags here. No matches found for the word flags, even though I can see billions of flags everywhere. Is it needing that? Nope, just a rubbish search tool. Here we go. So that's it. So it is only showing the persisted flags scenario, which is awesome. Brilliant. Thanks. Okie dokie. Still useful, just it's not what I want. Should really just go to the Cobra docs as well. GoLang. So I've been here many times. So we've got persisted flags, we've got a binding flag, Um, command flag string. Okay. So persisted flags works apparently with all subcommands, right? Binding flag. So it would be nice if it actually, explained what these things were, but you can't ask too much from documentation, right? So local flags. Add a flag based on local will only be applied to a specific command. Yeah. So this, although it's saying the root command, of course, it's probably going to be set on this. Well, this is currently the root command anyway. So whereabouts would that live? Because it's not going to go anywhere, is it? There's got to be a particular place that code needs to live. So if that's the variable there, and obviously it's referenceable here. So if I did like root command flags add and let IntelliSense do our job for us, then we've got amount with an A there and no deep value. It's currently a string, which is fine. We're going to change the data types soon when we start doing the unit tests. So if we write that, if I just have a quick look at the make file, because I cannot remember what I called stuff, install Cobra, build green, okay, build green. If I go and run, make, build green, syntax error, non-declaration, statement type is high body function, okay. So that's not where it needs to be. So there's probably a section for initializing, yeah. So where is this? This is command times. This is stored within main, creates a print command, and sets it. Honest to God. So of course there's a problem there. Expected declaration but found root. Yeah, because you expected like a function or an init. So maybe stuff like that needs to be inside like an initialize function. So we've got things like that there in it. But it's not exposed. I wonder if it's just called as part of the system. Because it's in it, right? So it's GoLang's constructor. You will additionally define flags and handle configuration inside your init function. Yeah. Okay. I always get confused over the ordering of this. If I do func init, Stop trying to type fast, just type correctly. Root command there. Let's delete that root command here. Okay. See if I can make this. Okay, so it made. Let's see if I can actually make a command file. Where would it be? CMD green. Should I just put it in green, I think? Yeah. What we're looking to do. No, come into that. Let's go into edit mode. Come on. So just want a place where I can store common commands so I don't have to keep typing them out or alias them or do some other weird stuff. The command that we need to run is this stuff should be going in bin for green amount 1999. We're going to party like it's on sale for 1999. And of course that didn't work because I think we also need the sub command, don't we? Is that right? What was it? Request payment. Adding client payment request payment. Okay, so let's just take that. I need to yank it from there and put it in here. Can I execute that from in here? Yeah, awesome. So what I've got here is just the command, of course. And then what I'm able to do is I'm able to just run a command to actually update that and run that. So whatever's in this file, I have the option to then execute, he says, without making an ass of it. There we go. I can select the line that I want to run, press enter, and the results will go into a different screen. So I don't have to keep typing this stuff over and over and over again. So now we've got the flag. What I need to do is update the value to take from, instead of it taking from args, I need to take the value from flags. So what I want is I want amount, command flags string amount. So if I write that, let's go back to my command. Come on. Come on. Not to disable that plugin. So what we do is make what was it called? Build green. Build dark green. Okie dokie. Make build green. I need to sort the order of this. It tries to order it kind of alphabetically or something, and it's not good. That looks like that worked. Okay, let's execute this. Cool. Right. Adding payment request 1999. Right, now we've got something that's testable, right? We've got something that we've got input and output. And all that thing, although that thing doesn't do the actual thing that we want it to do, it's not actually making the payment request. What I can do now is wire up all of the inputs and get a request ID back. And that request ID will be the GUID of a primary key within a database, right? And if that doesn't work, then we're not going to be able to get that back. Then that runs us into the problem of end-to-end testing versus mock testing versus testing within containers and blah, 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 blah. So that's where loads of other problems and ideas creep in. Really easy to make something quick and cheap and cheerful that doesn't survive the next question in a boardroom. And it's ridiculously hard to make something that's robust, solid, stable, reliable, maintainable. One will pay dividends for the rest of the lifetime of that product, and the other will be a constraint and a noose and what they refer to as technical debt, which really needs to be reworded as a shitfest of problems. So this is why writing software is complex, because doing it well takes a lot of time. Right, awesome. We've got that. So what I want now is I want to start adding a unit test to this. So if we go here, what have we got? We've got commands. Here's the main command. Where should I put the tests and how should I run them and what should they look like? Now there's a tests folder here. I'm actually in the camp that your tests should be close to your code. Tests and code are one and the same. They are a living organism that live together. So by putting tests in a separate folder gives the impression that they're a second-class citizen to your code, and they're not. They actually should be a fundamental part of your coding system. So let's just have a look at commands. In commands, I had a subcommand called payment request. Yeah. And how was that being used? How was that being done? Is it being done? Because this is the root command. Use Hugo. So how am I implementing that subcommand? Or is that just working by fluke because all of these things hit this? Oh, probably just working by fluke, so that needs fixing. We'll do that as part of the unit test. So, Really? Select line, yank, insert. Thank you. If I did payment request XXX, yeah, so it's not listening to the subcommand at all, of course. So then I think I've got that anyway. Yeah, review subcommands, because at the moment, of course, this is just the root. So whatever you're going to put in here, it's going to just do it. And I'm going to want a load of commands, as I've said, add payment, delete payment, cancel payment, really. And we can start putting them into some kind of interfaced contract that allows them to be future proofed, along with then the data types required for them arguments. And you end up getting this event driven type idea in your head of commands, inputs, outputs. All programming is really at the end of the day. Bucky, Bucky. Let's start creating some unit tests, right? Where are we at? So if I do E, nothing's set in stone, by the way, here. This is just really, we just want to get this stuff out and done as quickly as possible. Get the ideas into code, and then remember that this is the first round. So all of this is going to change. You want to give yourself time and grace to delete all of this and learn from it and restructure it and be able to clean it up. So green, where should these tests live? Green underscore tests. Go. Page. Come on, fingers. Good God. We're going to do add unit. Okay, so let's have a look at unit testing Cobra. I think I had something up here already. No, I must have been looking at something previous. Let's have a look. Cobra. So here's command, here's a root command, blah, 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 blah. So I've got a root command that's going to do stuff. Looks familiar. Then new root command. We've got a function test execute. Command is new command hi, command execute. Okay, so of course that will run it, but there is no test. So the cool thing about this is that there's no real complexity to this with the looks of it. If I run this, so import testing, root command undefined. So we've got to import our green. So this is where it gets tricky. How do I declare what packages? So this is in green, so it's got to be really the green package. If we have a look at main here, main is the main import to this. If I v that and yank it, that then is going into copper monkey command green commands, which is then going into here, and has then got access to the root command here, which has then got access to all this goodness, which is including the root command, right? Which is then able to run the execute function on that. Which doesn't jump to definition, but I suppose it won't do because it's something else. So realistically, there's new root command, but I don't actually have a method for that. Okie dokie. I've got the root command there. If I go to main, I'm not really creating a root command. I'm just going into command here and I'm getting access to it, and I'm getting access to this execute method, right? Of which part root command is already built. So that's a problem because I need a way of creating a root command. Now, if I've got a way of creating a root command, it's not logical for me to also do this. So this is where you've got to allow yourself to be able to change quickly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a function that allows us to have a root command, which is just going to have this code in it, and it's going to return it, right? So insert func new root command. It's going to return a root command, but what we're going to do is, if I take this Should have selected it within blocks. Cancel. PI. That. Insert. Oh, why did you not go to the end? Anyway. So, no, what we want is... What do we want? We want a Cobra command, don't we? Insert. And then, of course, the data that we've yanked. Is that looking good? Yeah, kind of. So our root command then should be able to use a new root command. And now we've got that, our code, what we need to do is first check, right, does this even work? And I think I've saved everything. Right, all buffers, and let's go to our commands. Let's do it. I'm saying the words, but my fingers aren't actually following along suit. Come on. Here we go. Good boys. That's it. Come on, little fingers. That's it. Come on. Don't know why I keep looking at the keyboard, because when I look at the keyboard, I do stupid things like that. What the hell? Let's make. So it should build, hopefully. Syntax sheet, okay. And let's run it with the 19.99. We're going to party like it's on sale for 19.99. Okay, I'm just not trustful of this. Oh. Let's have a look at the bin file and let's see the execution date creation of that file. 934. Yeah. So that's still built. That is good. That's good. It's good. So we've got a new root command. And is it being used now? So we should be being used now within our unit test, but we're not. Why not? Why not? What's going on? What's happening? Let's look at tests. New root command. Hello. So command imported not used. LSP restart. Let's see what you got. Nope. So found package is green in main. Oh, so we're not doing it that way around, are we? So where is my command? So new root command is here, and this is part of cmd green command root. So we just need to include copper monkey command green command, yeah, and we should then get access to that function of package green. So copper monkey command green command. You remember that? Copper monkey command green command. Is it because I've got high? Because I've got an input in. Deleting. X equals new root and got a function and a method. Right, I need to look into that. Delete. Declared. X is not declared. Delete in word. Turn X. Right. Anybody spot the difference? Because it's way too early in the morning for me to have done. Or was this the fact that it was command and the command was messing with something? Yeah. So let's change that to command root. Oh, don't want to change it everywhere. Command root. So that's fine. We just need to solve the problem of what the package, where the package should be. The packages need to be in its own. Didn't think so. Yeah, not quite sure what the problem is there. Right. Let's run the unit tests. This is going to be fun with them being in subs. How do we do that? Make file. Build. No, really. If you want a run green tests. Package green. No, it's not package. It will be eventually because I'll have unit tests within package as well. But at the moment, it's just the Cobra stuff that I'm running. So it's going to be CMD green CMD. Then the splat go into all. Not sure if that's the right syntax, by the way. Then what have we got? Let's yank that. Let's go to commands. Just paste this in. Fingers need to wake up. Come on. The run green unit tests. So, of course, that's a make. I need to get rid of that. I need to get rid of this auto pairing. It's driving me insane. Absolutely insane. It's like, what is this? What are you doing? Ins auto pair. Enabled false. And what? Update, sync, clean, check, log, restore, profile, and debug. No, I want to delete the bloody thing. Is he? Go away. Honestly, come on. Why aren't you quitting? Thank you. Oh, wrong side. Anywho, I'll disable that later on because it's just driving me insane. Let's run now, isn't it? Tests. Make, run, green tests. Okay. So no tests found. Won't be 1 second. Somebody at the door. Well, the joys of live coding, right? People coming to the door. So no tests found. And copper monkey command, green command, no tests found. So no test files. I've spelt it wrong. Is it test that it needs to be? Maybe it's just not going to work because of the syntax with it. I don't understand why that's complaining. Then packages green, green test, and a main. Okay. Restart. Okay, let's restart it. Let's have a look at another project. As always, my go-to is the Radius project at the moment because I'm just in there all the time. So we've got commands. We have the rad tool, commands, and then we've got bicep. But where are the unit tests? We've got tests, that's CLI, CLI, and they're under rad CLI. Maybe it's a problem with putting the tests in the same folder structure, but I've done that for a lot of other projects and I've not had this problem, so I need to figure out what's going on here. I can't really go forward unless I fix that problem with that definition of where these should be. So here we've got the same type of thing. Running tests. Just setting everything up actually. Yeah, so that's like the setup. But Rad haven't put any tests in there. Weird. Okay. So how these are all snippets without any actual real. Oh, here we go. So we've got a main file, root command. Then we've got flags working the same way. I wonder if I have to stick this in main. If I write, where is this actually in? This is in command green. So I should already be in. If we look at the folder structure there, we can see that the green is in with the commands. So I'm not in main. Okay, green tests. No warnings now, but that feels really unintuitive. That feels very wrong. In most cases as well, when you're working on projects, you're working on something that's pretty much been built already. You know, you very rarely do you go in and it's a foul new project. You're going to go into something that though where there's a structure, where there's something set up. Where at the moment, because this is completely greenfield, actually that can be harder because what you've got to do is if you got to actually be the one that works out how things should work, where things should look up, how the packages should work, and so on and so in. So no test files again. Right, this is copper monkey command green. Okay. Let's see if I've even got the right thing right. Let's go test CMD. Green. Nope. Always use the arrow keys, but it's not. You got to tab through. Right. Going on. I always get this test. Go. So yeah, that should be test. So if I look at this, let's rename that to test. Um, all of this is lowercase. Let's rename that to lowercase. Going between C# and Go, you can get these syntax issues. Didn't look like it had renamed. The choice of Windows maybe. So let's do green test and then XXX and take of course the XXX out. Get there eventually, gang. Let's run that again, but of course let's do green test. Finally. Oh no. Green test. Okay, let's go to my command and let's see if my commands are working now. Make tests. So no test files, and CMD, yeah. Green, yeah. Oh, am I going into command? I think that might be the problem. I think it's just green. So I need the make file, don't I? If I just run this on the command line first, go test CMD green. That was unexpected. So we're coming up. Well, we've gone past an hour now. But what I can do for the meantime is just run that. I think, which is not what I want. Yeah, so that's not it. I do a run all the tests in that folder. Nope. No. No. Honestly, I don't know what is the command. I've done type this out 1,000 times as well. Nope. Honest to God. So let's just type it out at the moment and we can fix this at another time. Because of course we're going to have loads of tests. So I need to find out what that splat operator is. Why it's not working in this scenario. So insert, what we're going to do, we are going to go green. Let's go test. Right. Find commands. Execute. Let's find the test. Make test. What have I done? Run green test, yeah. Make run green tests. Honest to God. This shouldn't be so difficult. The joys, the joys. But once you get it, it's beautiful, right? Da, 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 da. Let's see what we've got. Okay. CMD green. So it's CMD green test, okay. Maybe that's the problem with the bloody splat that I was having. Make run green test. Okie dokie. So that's running main green tests. I can fix that now to be the splat now. I know that I was in the complete wrong folder. And if I have a look at commands, let's have a look at that. Make green tests. That should run. We should get okay. Okay, right. So now we are in a position of strength and influence. We're in a position where now we can actually start writing some unit tests to test expectations, passing in commands and subcommands and so on and so forth, to then start decorating our actual real code with stuff that does work. Yeah. And that's where we can start fleshing out the APIs of these things, fleshing out the contracts, what the structs look like, what the data types look like. I think we're in a position now where we can really start putting it in some good meat into this and start having a bit of fun. In reality, it's been what? 2 hours, maybe 3 hours worth of real development work has gone in to creating something that I think is now in a good skeleton form. So if we go to to-dos, add commands to greens using Cobra, add validation, create rest, didn't do any of the stuff that I was planning on doing. That's, project managers, note, we actually don't do the stuff that you're asking us today, because if we was to explain all the things we would need to do to set it up, we would then have to do it and then come back to you and explain all the things we needed to do to set it up. So let's have a look. Let's say we're going to delete that tool. Build on the unit tests. Should we start now creating the structure? I think so. One of the things I really like is I like to create DSL layers. I don't see it a lot in Go. I don't know why, but the idea is that you would build a unit test that uses the business's logic. When you start working somewhere for the first like week or well, probably first month or so, you're walking around thinking, what the hell are these people talking about? You know, or I need an FTP to an LSP to go into new. When it goes to new to res, I want such a thing. It's like, what are these even words that you are using? And that's because every business gets its own culture. Like every country has its own culture and has developed its own language. Businesses develop their own language. And that's the biggest problem when you start somewhere new is not only have you got to work out all the code, but you've also got to understand and learn a whole new language of the business and the terminologies that they use. But if you can learn them languages and create a dictionary, open up Obsidian, start typing in all the buzzwords and terminology that the business use and start writing it down. If you can then write your code in the same way as that, then you can actually say things like create application, set to new, send welcome email, set res pack, set FTP, premise to ASD 4973 3 build and test or run tests. Expect status to be is. So as the business, when they're setting an application, they're going to set it to new. They'll send a welcome pack to the email and then they'll get the res pack. At that point, then FTP financial product type will be set to this value. Let's build something that has all of this state. This might be 20 steps, and every step changes data in a certain way, does stuff, triggers things. But at the end of this, all of this will be in an expected state, a consistent state that the business and software and the code runs. So if you was to go to a director or a manager and give them a piece of paper and say, write down what happens when we set to new, when we send a welcome pack, when we res it, when we set the financial product type, what would the customer look like? And they'd be able to write down exactly what it looks like and hand it you back. That piece of paper should match exactly what your code's doing. Otherwise, there's an inconsistency between what the business thinks and what is really happening. So if you build this domain specific language system, which is just a builder, as you've probably seen, then what you can do is you can run the tests. You can then work out what the expectations is, and that given all of this state, the lead or the application would then be in a status of issue. The great thing about that then is that you can actually reuse that structure and start changing it. What happens if I didn't send it as that red status? What happens if I didn't set that financial product type to that value? Did I get the state that I was expecting? And the answer would be no. And then you can work out and build up tests. So when there's a business with, well over to maybe 500 different commands, well, that's trillions and trillions of possible outcomes. So programming is easy, state management is hard. So the DSL layer allows you to build all these different states that the business should have and impose, and then put that in. So I'm going to have a think about that. I'm not going to do it at this early stage because I don't even know what the domain logic is yet. So we're going to build on the unit tests. I'm going to start creating all the structs for the commands, and we've got one already for add-in. I'm going to probably move that into its own package because it's going to be shared. It's definitely going to be a shared system. So that's going to go into packages, types or something. I don't know. Models. Oh. If I read the word model, DTO or service one more time, poke myself in the eyeball with a pen. Luckily, I've got glasses on, so anyway. So that's what we're going to do next time. Very slow progress, but that's life, and sometimes that happens when programming. It's the real world.